Come on in. It's the Sports Parlor Podcast, brought to you by BetJack.com. And now, please welcome the guys who know it all, Phil Taylor and Nick Pedone.
Welcome to the Sports Parlor Podcast presented by BetJack.com. Go check out BetJack on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, at BetJack for the picks that we give on this show, special podcast clips, and so many other sports betting content, BetJack.com. I'm your host, Nick Pedone, joined alongside 2011 Cleveland Browns first-round pick, Phil Taylor. Phil, welcome on back into the Sports Parlor. It was a crazy week again for football.
Another one, always.
Always eventful. The Browns obviously got it done at Paul Brown Stadium. That was our big headline this week. It was a crazy whirlwind of a week with a lot of drama going on in that locker room, in that organization, but they found a way to cleanse themselves. That was a huge win there. Cincinnati was slighted big time in the College Football Playoff Committee. They're ranked 6th despite being undefeated. It seems like it's going to be an uphill battle for them at this point to get into that College Football Playoff, maybe damn near impossible. And Ohio State probably didn't really help themselves this weekend either. They won, but not as big as they could have won against the Nebraska Corn. And in a shocker, I came back. I cut into your lead in our weekly pick segment that we do every week. I'm now 62-39 compared to your 64-37. So still got some work to do, still 2 games back, but I like where I'm sitting here as we move forward into week 10. How about those Cleveland Browns, man?
They look good, man. This is back to things that they know works, and one of the things was Chubb.
Yeah.
And getting him the ball. And just get Chubb the ball and everything else gonna feed off everybody else. You know what I mean? Just give Chubb the ball. Let that be your money maker. You know what I'm saying? Give him his touches, and everything else going to fall in line.
Yeah, I felt like definitely that was the most complete game that we've seen out of the Cleveland Browns in 2021 rather. It was just that in the other wins, it was like, okay, the offense showed up, but the defense sucked. Or then the defense showed up, and the offense looked a little bit anemic. But this was the first game that they were able to really put everything together. Paul Brown Stadium was packed with Browns fans. It was really about 50-50. There was, cheering after
you went
every
crazy
play.
On that pick 6.
I went crazy on that pick 6.
I said, Nick about to get on the field now.
Yeah. Denzel Ward, Nordonia alum. I knew as soon as that ball hit his hands that thing was going the other way. That was
a bad
that was OHSAA track sprinting record holder Denzel Ward on full display back from his days at Nordonia. So that was awesome to see out of him, and really it seems like the Browns are back, and we're going to get into this in our facts segment, but that was a tough L for Cincinnati as well, and now it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle. They had an ugly loss to Mike White's New York Jets. We made fun of that last week, and then they slipped up in a big way against the Browns, where they should have been able to capitalize on just an ugly week in Berea and a lot of other things going on. But hey, credit Kevin Stefanski, credit Baker Mayfield. They were able to figure it out, rally those guys, and win on Sunday, which is all that matters.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Them guys it just seemed like they were just rolling on all cylinders. Defense, offense, special teams, it didn't matter, man. They were just, it was just a great day of football on all sides.
Well, it's good news for Cincinnati and the Bengals is they're on a bye week, so they got a week to take a look back at what went wrong against the Jets, about what went wrong with Cleveland. But for the Browns, they got another quick turnaround back on Sunday against the New England Patriots on the road in Foxborough. We'll get to that. Phil, let's kick it off with your pick segment as we move away from Week 9 and get into Week 10 of the 2021 NFL season.
First, we got Baker. Baker is better without OBJ. I wouldn't put it necessarily that way. I feel as though letting OBJ, get his walking papers was the best for all, for everybody. And Baker, he did look good, but at the same time, Chubb was looking good, and Chubb was back to doing his thing. And when Chubb's doing his thing, it makes Baker's job a lot easier. A lot of these games, I hear a lot of people, blaming OBJ, it was his fault. It wasn't really nobody's fault. It was just, I said it along from the beginning. I don't think they clicked. You know what I'm saying? It was a trade, and I felt like he didn't want to be here in the first place. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. You know, everybody got what they wanted at the end of the day, I guess. So, you know, we wish him well, and it's next man up, you know, in Cleveland. So yeah.
I think for me, and I think for a lot of Cleveland fans too, it's just so disappointing how it had to end. And we knew, you know, like you've been saying it all along, and it's been in the back of everybody's mind that he's probably not happy here. You know, he had a 2019 season that was good for him, you know, personally. He had over 1,000 receiving yards, but the team didn't win much with Freddie Kitchens. And then it was a good chance to start new with Kevin Stefanski. And then the Browns are actually winning, and he gets hurt and you know, has to have ACL surgery. And then this season comes back, isn't doing anything production-wise. The team is up and down, and then ultimately the blow-up happens. And I'm disappointed that it took that blow-up to happen for him to get out.
If they didn't, you know what I'm saying, I guess they didn't get what they wanted in the trade. So I felt like if you don't get them out of here by trade deadline, something going to happen. It's going to be distractions.
Yeah.
And what happened? The whole video came out from his dad, and you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
How distracting is that when stuff like that happens? And I know they say, and I know publicly they say, we keep that out of the building. That kind of stuff isn't being discussed in the locker room. But it has to be weird for those guys, just in human nature, that you go through that locker room every day, the day after the blow up happens, and that 13 locker is just empty.
Yeah, it would be tough. Like when I was playing, I didn't really have to go against deal with no situation where the quarterback and the wide receiver are like kind of going at it. So I mean that would be kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? You just sitting there looking at the quarterback, and all this on the internet right now is, you know, one of the receivers' dad saying he can't throw the ball or something. You know what I'm saying? That's tough. And you know, a defensive guy, I mean, I don't care, but. You know what I'm saying? Like for the O-line and things like that, and, you know, knowing that the media is going to be in there after practice asking you anything and everything about what's going on. And yeah, I mean, it sucks, but at the end of the day, you got to be a professional. You got to know how to deflect all of that, you know, so, yeah.
It seemed to me, and I was getting a little bit tired of it throughout the week, that people were like, you know, Baker's going to turn this and make it a good thing. I'm like, we hear this all the time, man. Like and I'm a huge Baker fan. I think you've come to realize that at this point. But the you know, chips are stacked against him and his back's against the wall. That's where he plays his best. I'm like, come on, we got to see it now. Like we've been talking about back against the wall. We need to see it. But I truly feel like that put Baker's back all the way against the wall, and he responded in a big way. He was Pro Football Focus's highest rated QB this week. And
I mean, he had no choice. I mean, all this, you know, hoopla going on about, you know, quarterback and wide receiver. All right, wide receiver gone. What you gonna do now? Don't go back to, you know what I'm saying, the old BS, you know what I'm saying, not throwing it to the receiver. You know what I mean? You got to go out there and play now. You know what I'm saying? They done got rid of Odell for you now. We're gonna see. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
And he did that. I thought that he stepped up. He's 1-0 without Odell, so he's got to definitely keep that up.
I mean, they played great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong. Even with Odell, some games he played great. It's just shit wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? Stuff happens. So yeah, I mean, you got to roll with the punches.
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious to see how it continues to unfold, because there definitely was a lot of pressure on Baker. Like, all right, they got rid of him. Now it's time for you to go.
They're gonna make it either way. Even if he started having a great time, the story gonna be this. Even if he messes up, the story gonna be that. You know what I'm saying? It's always a way. So it's like, as the player, you just gotta go out there and be you, play with, and do what you can do, control what you can control.
Yeah, and obviously, as we're recording this today on Tuesday, Odell Beckham has been placed on waivers, so teams will have until 4 p.m. to put a claim in for him. If he's unclaimed, then he will hit unrestricted free agency, and he could go wherever he wants. So we'll have to see how that shakes. It's obviously a little bit of a unique situation to have a veteran of Odell Beckham's caliber on waivers, but with that waiver claim comes over $7 million in cap space. So we'll have to see what teams are willing to do, and for Odell, we'll have to see if his career and his time in Cleveland was just an outlier, or if he is just a guy that's not the same player that he once was.
Oh no, he gonna ball.
You think so?
He gonna ball. He like I said, he didn't want to be in Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like from the outside looking in. You know what I'm saying? Cleveland, a up and coming organization. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get things on the track, and you get traded here. Like he probably didn't know who wanted to go to Cleveland during that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Kitchen and them just came off a 0-16 year. You know what I mean? So it's like I feel like he got a lot left in the tank. It was just, it just wasn't here in Cleveland.
I mean, doesn't that piss you off a little bit though, as like a fan, as a former player, because the Browns last year, they were saying that Odell Beckham Jr. reports say that he requested a trade this offseason. So you requested a trade after you got one of the most NFL's red hot QBs. It was Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and Baker through the last 8 weeks last year. You got your best friend in the whole universe in Jarvis Landry. You got a team that was one play away from beating the Kansas City Chiefs and playing in an AFC Championship game. And you wanted to leave that, Odell Beckham Jr.? Maybe you don't want to win. Maybe you do want to go to San Francisco and just live in California and party it up.
You got to do what's best for you. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. Because these teams, all you is just, you know what I'm saying, an employee for them. You know what I'm saying? But for the play, you got to do what's best for you. Like, I don't knock him for wanting to go somewhere. Like, he got traded here. So at the end of the day, like, it wasn't his decision to come here. You know what I'm saying? I guess he felt like, you know what I'm saying, in the beginning, he was like, they sent me to Cleveland to die. You know what I mean? But he made the best out of it as he could. But it was just like I felt as though he didn't like Baker in the first place. So it was like it just adding on. But if he requested that trade in the offseason, why they didn't do that? And that's owners being owners trying to own these players.
And yeah, they definitely were trying to own them. I just feel like it takes two to tango, man.
If a person don't want to be here, let him go. All you're doing is making it worse in the long run.
And I do agree with that point, especially we just had Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers head coach, at the deadline. They traded Melvin Ingram for nothing, who was playing kind of some key moments for that Steelers defense. He didn't want to be there at this stage in his veteran career, and they said, we'd rather have volunteers than hostages in this building. And I think the Browns at least finally got to that point, even though it was ugly. They finally did get him away, because imagine if they would have tried to force this and make this work and let him show up after the whole stink with his dad. That would have been really ugly.
It would have, and it just wouldn't. It was just a problem that it shouldn't be there. You know what I'm saying? It would have been a lot hectic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been they would have ended up finding the money and stuff like that, because he probably wouldn't have came in after that. So,
well, that's over, Phil. Odell Beckham's gone. The Browns finally look like they're back on the right track without him, and this AFC is wide open. I know we're going to get into that, but first, throw us to your second fact this week.
The Packers miss Aaron Rodgers badly.
Oh, boy, did they.
Worse than badly. They look like a whole other team without Aaron Rodgers, man.
They sure did, and I'm curious to see what trend this takes. So obviously it's just COVID for Aaron Rodgers, and we know that he's kind of in peak physical shape. He's a professional athlete, so he's going to be back in there once the 10, 14 days are over. However, the big question mark for me then turns to, this is a guy that has come out and said that this is his last dance in Green Bay. And we saw a Packers team against the Kansas City Chiefs defense in which you and Kendrick Perkins both said that senior citizens couldn't stop. And Jordan Love just looked bad. Call it for what it is. Jordan Love looked bad. He was a guy that came out probably in the first round a little bit too high to the Packers. And he lost a bowl game to the Kent State Golden Flashes when he was playing at Utah State. So he's definitely just a raw prospect. And I don't know that they could go all in with him next year if this is the end of Rodgers in Green Bay.
I know everybody getting on Rodgers because you know what I'm saying, he's unvaccinated and he putting the team at risk, and this really was a good play for Rodgers.
Yeah, it showed how valuable.
It shows they need this man. And if anybody is scared right now, it's Matt LaFleur. He like, that first, and it looked so good last night, did it? Nah, Man, LaFleur, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to rekindle this little relationship I got with Aaron. We're going to need him for a few more.
Yeah, so what do you do in that situation? I mean, if you're the Packers, I would just let Rodgers do the draft. Like what players do you want? You know, he was angry that they haven't gotten him any offensive help.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams isn't a first-round pick. You know, they have no first-round picks on offense almost. So it's like, Aaron, just run the draft? Like, do
I
what?
wouldn't say necessarily run the draft, but let him have a say-so. What do you think we need to build this offense? Obviously, you're later in your career, but let's be men about it.
Yeah.
What do you think that's gonna get us where we need to be before you're out of here or retired? You know what I mean? So that's what I think they need to do, and more teams should do that. You know, it's the players that's out there playing. They know what's gonna, you know what I'm saying, what they need beside them or what they can throw to, or you know what I mean?
I agree with that, especially the players of Aaron Rodgers' stature, where it's like, you know, you could put Aaron Rodgers on pretty much any team, and it's like, all right, like we got to take this team serious now because they have Aaron Rodgers.
Everybody want to be like Bill Belichick when you know what I'm saying, when it comes to having a good QB and they can put anybody out there and he'll throw it to them. Only Bill Belichick can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? We see how that's going now that Tom Brady's gone. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, and the Packers, they definitely miss Aaron Rodgers. They got to, you know, figure things out. Like you said, it's time for them to rekindle that relationship because they've obviously won way too many games this year already. You're probably beyond the point of drafting a QB. Maybe there's some guys that are unhappy with their situations in Watson and maybe Russell Wilson that you could take a flyer on if things go sour with Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers is a staple of the Green Bay Packers literal history. He's a staple of that community in Green Bay, Wisconsin. They gotta find a way to make it right. It feels like it would be a disservice if they would let that guy go to just any other team.
I think Odell will fit nicely there.
I do too. I don't know that they would do that. I don't know why.
They got to lose?
I just feel like Odell,
after that game with Love in there?
Yeah, you think, but could you see Odell being happy living in Green Bay, Wisconsin? I think Odell wants to go somewhere warm.
He want to win. That's all he wants.
Allegedly. If he wanted to win.
Who don't want to win?
Dude, he wanted to win, but he requested a trade from a team that was a couple plays away from going to an AFC championship game. And now they're saying that he could land with the Seahawks, who we just seen a couple games of Geno Smith, or the 49ers, who Jimmy G isn't going to be their quarterback next year.
Yeah, I mean, and those are all West Coast teams. But at the same time, if he truly want to win, he going to go to where he going to win.
I agree. Yeah, if you truly want to win, Odell Beckham, you definitely go to the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills.
That's crazy.
Green Bay
if
Packers.
he went to the Chiefs, they got Josh though. I mean,
they could easily just get rid of Josh. I'd take him back.
I don't think they're gonna have the space for him.
Well, definitely not on waivers. They won't. But if Odell somehow clears these waivers, they will. And again, this is all speculation. It's tough to do, especially because we don't know what'll happen in the next 48 hours until this podcast.
Let's get to this next one, though.
Let's throw it to our next third fact this week because you were just talking about those Patriots, and they're kind of in this thing now.
I don't know. The AFC is wide open. Yeah, after freaking Josh Allen and them boys throwing it to Josh Allen and them boys. That was funny. But, yeah, I mean, the AFC is wide open, you know what I'm saying? Kansas City's still trying to figure it out. You got the Buffalo not looking so tough right now. Herbert turning things back around, you know what I'm saying, after a little slump. But, yeah, I mean, it's wide the F open.
Yeah, seriously, man. You looked at this at the beginning of the year, and you saw Kansas City wasn't right, and we've seen the hiccups with the Browns, and the Chargers and the Raiders are probably both a little bit too young. The latter had just fired their coach. Tennessee, 7-2, but they seem to be left for dead when Derrick Henry got hurt. And then Baltimore has all the injuries on the defensive side of the ball, just logically by process of elimination. You're like, Buffalo, you have the most complete roster. This is your year to do it. But then they go ahead and they struggle with the Miami Dolphins last week in that first half of the game, and they barely squeak past them. And then this week, they lose 9-6 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I definitely don't think it's time to press the panic button on Buffalo by any stretch. You would rather have your bad games happen now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you said, the Chargers are hanging around. The Vegas Raiders, it was
everybody just hanging around.
Everybody's hanging around, and the Browns included in that bunch.
It's like the NFC East last year
Yep.
with your Cowboys.
We'll get into that. And how about like the New England Patriots, who the Browns play this week? They cut Cam Newton just 10 weeks ago, and they looked like they were going to be awful, and they're 5-4, same record as our Browns. So definitely wide open, and at this point in time, I don't know if I could even predict how this thing would shake out.
Yeah, right now you don't know because Tennessee, even though they don't have Henry right now, you never know. They can get the old guy going, you know what I'm saying, and Peterson, they can get him going. You never know. They can, you know what I'm saying, still a couple of wins. And if Henry is back within the, you know what I'm saying, that 6 to 10 week range and ready for playoffs, they're gonna be back right there.
Well, I'm glad that this show is going to roll through the NFL postseason because this is all heating up right before our very eyes, and things are starting to finally even out. It seems a bit, and the good teams like the Browns are a good team, and the Ravens are definitely starting to show why they were getting all that preseason love, and hopefully some of the other players that are in this, the Raiders who fired their coach, and some of these other guys start to get pushed down.
We might have a 10-win team in the wild card this year for the AFC.
Could be in a 17-game season. Yeah, you probably need at least 10 wins to get yourself into a wild card. It's crazy to say, and we're going to take a look at some of these records and some of these upcoming games because it is time for our weekly picks of the NFL Week 10 presented by BetJack.com.
From big parlays to picks on the money line, here are Phil's and Nick's picks of the week.
Alrighty, we will start off our weekly pick segment from Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida. The Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa are in prime time against Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. The Ravens almost slipped up this past week. They were in a dogfight with the Minnesota Vikings. However, Vegas doesn't care about that. They're 7.5-point favorites here on the road against the Miami Dolphins.
I'm going to go with Vegas on this one, man. And I feel like the Ravens are, they kind of rolling now. You know what I'm saying? They've been showing a little bit of consistency, but, you know what I'm saying, last week they had a little slip up, but they found a way to get it done.
Yep.
And that's all it takes is finding a way to get it done. They ain't got to be pretty, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna take the Ravens. I just don't think that the Dolphins can stick with Lamar and these guys.
Yeah, and when we look at these games and these lines, we like to give people some sort of further insight as to why to go either way. Why go with the 7.5? Why take the plus 7.5 if you were to bet on the Fins? I'm agreeing with you. I think this time it's just a case of record. Your record says what you are. And the Ravens record says that they're 6-2, and the Dolphins record says that they're 2-7. And that's going to be a tough, tall task for a 2-7 squad to try to cool down Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, especially even though it wasn't Lamar's best game through the air. If he could get some of those guys going, Marquise Brown, the rookie that they drafted, also I'm blanking on his name right now, but if they could get those guys involved, the Ravens are going to be legit. It pains me to say it. We thought that they could have taken a step back because they were just plagued by injuries, but they found a way, and that's what good teams do. That's what good organizations do. So I'm going to take the Ravens here as well.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on to Sunday, where the Tennessee Titans are 7-2, and they will play home host to the New Orleans Saints. Obviously, again, the Saints will be without Jameis Winston. It'll probably be Trevor Siemian for the Saints on the road. The Titans are 2.5-point favorites. I felt like that was low, and I feel like Vegas is still a little skeptical on Tennessee with no Derrick Henry.
Man, the Saints defense, that's my only concern, with the Titans offense. If the Saints defense can stop them from letting AP go and get going, I feel as though that they can win this game. But I feel like they've been finding ways, man. I think they still gonna find some ways. I'm gonna take the points, and I'm gonna take the Titans.
I'm with you. I'm taking the 2.5. I'm taking Tennessee also. Just playing devil's advocate here. This feels like a game where if you could get Alvin Kamara rolling a little bit for the Saints in that stupid dink and dunk game with your backup quarterback and let him take passes, tuck it in, just rumble. And then you put Marshawn Lattimore.
Simeon got some starts under his belt.
He
He knows slow.
He does. And then defensively, you just put Marshawn Lattimore and have him chase around A.J. Brown and the other players on that defense just get after Tannehill. There is a way for the Saints to win this ball game, but Tennessee's D is no joke either. That's what drives me crazy is like everybody thought they were dead in the water with no Derrick Henry, and then their defense was just like, oh yeah, you guys completely forgot that we're an entire unit also.
Oh yeah, they balling big time.
Big time. We both got the Titans there. Let's move on forward to this interdivision matchup where even though the Buffalo Bills are coming off two disappointing performances, big spread alert, Buffalo on the road in New York, 12.5-point favorites are the Bills against the Jets. That's a lot of points.
Yeah, they coming off a tough loss, and they gonna be hungry. I'm definitely gonna go with Buffalo and McDermott and these guys, but I'm scared of that 12.5 points. Even though it's the Jets, I'm still scared of that 12.5. I'm gonna still take Buffalo, but I'm not gonna take the 12.5.
Definitely, and for this game, it will be Mike White back at quarterback for the Jets. They're not gonna rush Zach Wilson back. I think I'm with you, man. I'm taking Buffalo. I'm hesitant in doing so because if they lose this game, then my panic meter starts to rise. Where you struggle against the Dolphins, you lost to the Jaguars, and then to lose the Jets, I'd really definitely start to stress a little bit. But Vegas knows what they're doing with these lines. Like when you see 12.5, they're confident that Buffalo is going to win this football game. I'm not as confident in that 12.5, but I'm confident how we pick these games straight up on the money line. That take Buffalo there because that 12.5 is just too much. But if the Jets find a way, then maybe Rob Salah's figured some things out. But they lose in the most frustrating fashions. It seemed like they had a good opportunity to go toe-to-toe with the Colts, even when Mike White got hurt, and they put in Johnson, who's played quarterback in 100 different spots. It was like they were right there at the end. They could have came back, and they just killed themselves with penalties. And that's just the definition of being a young team with a rookie head coach. That's just some of the gray hair stuff that you got to go through, and you got to stay the course. That's the only way to do it. Alrighty, let's move on forward to Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. It'll likely be another Jordan Love start for those Green Bay Packers. I believe so. I don't think Rodgers will be back in enough time. And for Seattle, Russell Wilson's back. So we got Packers with Jordan Love, Seahawks with Russ, yet still the Packers are 4-point favorites here.
Yeah.
In Lambeau, tough place to play.
In Lambeau, if A-Rod back, Packers for sure got this W. But
yeah, you got to pick it today, man. You can't go no ifs or buts. Man.
But you don't know how Russell going. Yeah, he might be back to throwing, but you don't know how he gonna be in that game with that. You know what I'm saying? Freshly surgerized
finger. Yeah, and they had to pull the pin out of there and everything. And that dude, he tweeted a picture of the pin. I didn't realize that when you get a pin put in there, they put a legit pin in there. I don't
think they put a pin on my pec. It's like mesh. So you put like a little mesh lining on the bone or whatever, and then they basically like tie my pec to that shit.
Jeez.
It's all right. It's still hanging on. But yeah, I'm gonna go. It's tough, man. I think that first week with Jordan Love was a little hiccup. I don't think they're gonna lose 2 in a row though.
I'm going Seattle. Now I gotta go against you there. I saw Jordan Love struggle in that game, and he looked
bad.
He looked like the same guy that lost to a team that didn't even win the Mid-American Conference a couple years ago in the Tropicana Smoothie Frisco Bowl or whatever the hell it was called out there in Texas when my Golden Flashes took down Jordan Love. So I'm still picking against Jordan Love. Packers need to get Aaron Rodgers right. Russ is back. Give me the Seahawks here.
Cool.
We'll move on forward. How about Pittsburgh, man? I would love to play their schedule, huh? Jeez. Pittsburgh.
Easy one.
Yeah, on the road. playing the Detroit Lions. Steelers are 8.5-point favorites.
You said you had
the road.
Detroit before this, right?
No.
Yeah, you did.
The Lions are 0-8. I feel so bad for the Lions because you see teams all the time when they get to this point in the year, they won 0 games or 1 or 2 games. They just give up on their coach. They give up on the organization. They hate their lives. But the Lions are not that team.
They think about the offseason right now.
Yeah, but I don't think the Lions are. I think they genuinely believe. That's why I feel so bad. Like, they say the right things. Like, they genuinely believe that they have a chance. And then you got an organization.
Is this what people thought about us in Cleveland? Will we be losing like that?
Probably. I think people genuinely
because I feel like with the Lions this year, even though that's the only 0-8 team that I feel as though they played better than the 0-8
For
team.
sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just it ain't their time yet. I feel as though they gonna come around. It's not their time yet.
I feel like, Phil, when you were in Cleveland, I feel like you guys were, and I know you know this, were set defensively. You had yourself, had pieces all over that defense. You had that offensive line. Remember that offensive line with Alex Mack and those guys? And
one of the best ones we had.
They literally
kept them together.
They literally just couldn't figure out the quarterback. And then the receivers were so come and go, and Josh was getting suspended. The offense, it was always just a carousel of dysfunction. And unless Josh Cribbs could do something insane on a kick return, it was like this offense wasn't going to help you guys out. Where the Lions, it feels like they got pieces on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, Jared Goff is all right. He's played in a Super Bowl. And then the defense is all right. They just can't put it all together. I'm not going to pick them to put it together in this game. I'm going to take the Steelers and probably the 8.5 too, because the Steelers just have everything go their way always.
Yeah, I'm definitely go with the Steelers and the 8.5 on this one. I feel bad that the Lions 0-8. I feel as though they could be easily 4-4 right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just they just got to find a way to win those games at the end, man. Them close games.
Yeah, and it'll feel good. It'll feel great for those guys in the locker room. I don't think they're going to go 0-17. They got to get one, and when they get that one, it'll feel like a Super Bowl because
I hope they get one.
I hope they do too.
Yeah.
I genuinely do. They're a hard-working city like us in Cleveland.
Yeah, I never went 0-16. I know it'd be tough though. Just that you couldn't win a game. That's tough.
Yeah. I was at Heinz Field when that ball went through Corey Coleman's hands and they went 0-16. That was a long 2.5-hour drive back.
I bet.
All right, let's move on forward to Sunday Night Football from Las Vegas, Nevada. They love having this stadium on full display as the Vegas Raiders will play host to the Kansas City Chiefs, and this is a big game as it pertains to the AFC. The Chiefs are kind of clawing their way back. They've definitely looked to rebound, and they need this game. Like you said, Phil, they're 2.5-point favorites here on the road in Vegas.
Yeah. Both teams been kind of up and down, especially more on the Chiefs side. 2.5 points. That's either way though. You know what I mean? That's gonna be a tough one.
It's definitely a toss-up.
Sunday night, yeah. I'm gonna have to go with Mahomes on Sunday night under the lights. That's what I'm gonna take the 2.5. They're gonna beat them by more than 2.5.
I think for me, for this entire matchup, I'm waiting for the real version of these teams to show up. I don't think the Raiders are that good. I think they have a good defense, but now without Henry Ruggs, I just don't think that they're a playoff
I don't think
team.
He wasn't really doing nothing.
No, he was. I mean, he was out there, but
he out there. He somebody keep an eye on him, but unless he wasn't running no fade, they ain't gonna throw it to him.
I just don't.
I feel like if they actually threw it to him on dink and dunk stuff and cross the middle, yeah, he would have had a bigger impact. But really, he only caught deep balls.
Yeah, that's all behind us now, anyways.
You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, I just don't think the Raiders are that good, and I think they're due for a come-to-reality moment at some point that we're just not that good. There's teams in this AFC that are better than them, and for Kansas City, they've struggled, they've had their hiccups, but I'm still waiting for the real Kansas City Chiefs to show up, where Patrick Mahomes goes off, and Hill and Kelce, these guys all go off too. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs. I'm going to pick the 2.5, but instinct tells me that both of these teams see this as a winnable game in the conference. difference, and this is going to be an awesome showing on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, Chiefs just looking real normal. They just looking normal. Don't be scared of them no more.
All right, well, we both got KC there, and we both got the 2.5 on Sunday Night Football. Let's move on forward because Colt McCoy coming off a big dub
Oh, yeah, that was
for
great.
the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals are going to be back in AZ, 9.5-point favorites against Sammy D's Carolina Panthers, man. How about that, Sam Darnold? 3 more interceptions onto the resume. I'd be calling up the agent and saying, yo, agent, we got to start looking for some backup roles for me next year because this starting QB stuff not working out for old Mr. Sam.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm definitely ain't betting on them this week. That's for damn sure. I'm taking Cardinals and definitely taking the 9.5.
I'm going to take the Cardinals as well. I think if the Cardinals needed Kyler and D-Hop to play, if that was a playoff game, they probably would have played. They're just playing it smart. Like, hey, we were 7-1. Like, we don't need these guys. And they still found a way with Colt McCoy.
Still found a way.
Shout out Colt, former Browns QB. And
Oh, yeah. He controlled what he could control.
Yeah, and he got the win in doing that.
Ain't
So
do too much, Did what he can do.
I'm definitely taking the Cardinals here. I'm taking the 9.5 here. I just think that the Panthers just probably got to go towards rebuild. Like they need to find a true solution at quarterback because you got some other pieces there. I like CMC, obviously. I like DJ Moore. I like Robbie Anderson. And the offensive line isn't bad.
So they should tank the rest of the season?
You got a great.
Keep CMC out.
I'd hate to see him tank, man, just because I do think they have some legitimate young players.
I think nobody truly tanks, but
true, right? Even if I think of it like this, right? Like the executives might want to tank. The guys in the suits probably want to tank because they want the good draft picks. They want to show what they could do come draft time. But the players,
are you sure though? Some owners just minimum. I just gotta make this money every year.
Yeah,
they making money.
True.
It's a business.
But the GMs and the guys that follow the analytics and their jobs depend on like getting good picks and hitting on those picks. Like they want it to be as high up as they can.
Oh yeah.
But the players, I don't think there's a player that wants to tank. They want to go out there and win.
No. Truly, if a team really wanted to tank, it would just tell us like it'd be noticeable. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like the Lions right now are 0-8. They are not trying to tank.
At all.
You got your coach crying.
Because if you're really trying to tank, guys are going to get hurt trying to go half speed. You know what I'm saying? You can't go half speed in the full speed, situation. You're going to get hurt.
I think that probably goes for any sport, too. Same with basketball. Yeah. You can't truly, fully take your foot all the way off the gas. It's just sometimes you don't have the talent to go toe-to-toe with some of the other teams around the league. All right, we both got Arizona there. Let's move on forward. The Washington football team, Phil, your football team has got a tall task. They'll be playing Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Washington. Football team is 2-6. Bucs are 6-2. Tampa favored by 9.5 points on the road.
Tough, man. Football team, the defense ain't looking like it should be looking. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's going on over there. They need to get it fixed. But, I'm going to have to go with, Uncle Tom on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tom as well. I'm going to go with the 9.5 as well. It's crazy that AB is still going to be out. They're really taking their time bringing Antonio Brown back. But with
they're making sure they're ready for playoffs.
That's so brilliant in my opinion because Tom is going to get it to anybody, man. And he's got 2 really good guys in Godwin and Evans. It's not like he's throwing to nobodies. Like, just take your time, get them back. That defense is still stacked against Taylor Heineke. I really don't see a way that Tampa loses this football game. I'm going to make this my lock of the week. We haven't done this in a couple weeks. Tampa's my lock in the week with the 9.5. I think Brady off a bye comes back in a big way.
Cool.
All right, let's move on forward. You got the Denver Broncos coming off a big dub, Phil, against the Dallas Cowboys. We'll get to the Cowboys in a second. But Broncos are 5-4. They're going to be 2.5-point favorites at home against the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. So definitely an interesting matchup here.
Not too interesting. I'm going with the Broncos, man.
Okay.
Bridgewater been looking good, and they've been finding a way to win some games. You know what I mean? So I just feel like the Eagles, they've been trying to solidify that offense. They've been going to Devontae Smith a lot more. You know what I'm saying? They used the first round pick on you, so we need to use you. You know what I'm saying? That's what they need to do. You know what I'm saying? They just got to find out the running back situation right now.
No kidding.
So that's the only thing. So, I mean, they're not in a bad situation. They do need to make up some of them losses, but I'm going with the Broncos on this one, and I'm going to take the 2.5.
Yeah, and the Broncos definitely look good. I think they were feeling themselves a little bit. They got rid of Von Miller, and there was just so much noise going around that, the team was upset with Von Miller because he was trying to get them to pay for like a Halloween party, and it just seemed like Von Miller left, and everybody's like, oh, the Broncos waved the white flag on the season. Then they go out and put a hurt on the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
I think, however, that could have been a mirage, and I like that they're getting Devontae Smith involved. The guy won the Heisman as a receiver. That's not easy to do. Have Jalen Hurts throw that guy the football. I need to pick some underdogs, but it's not going to be here. I'm going to pick the Denver Broncos.
I thought you had.
I'm going to pick the Denver Broncos, man. They're in Mile High, so I can't. If this game would have been in Philly, maybe I would have gone the other way, but in that high altitude, Teddy looked good. They need to let Teddy throw the ball deep.
Yeah.
Teddy is like Baker, where he's probably just a small step above game manager.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could get big throws out of Teddy. So let Teddy do that, and the Broncos will win here.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, here's an interesting matchup just because the Jags won. Now we have to look at the Jags and say that they have a couple wins under their belt. It was their first win on American soil in over 400 days last week against those Buffalo Bills. The Jags are 2-6. They're on the road against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are 10.5-point favorites in this ball game.
Yeah, I think they can win for sure. But 10.5, I don't know if I'm trusting. But maybe though.
The Colts are 4-5.
Jonathan Taylor been balling. Pittman, he been balling. Freaking Naeem Hines.
Go Hines, go.
Man, I'm gonna take the Colts. And I'm going to take the 10.5, and I'm going to make this my lock.
Wow, so you got the Colts and covering in your lock. That's an interesting lock, man.
I'm going to take it.
I like it. I'm not as confident in you because now the Jaguars.
I feel like their offense been like low-key, like rolling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they have been. The Jaguars haven't quit, man. That's another. We were just talking about it with the tanking. The Jaguars didn't quit on Urban either, and they very well could have. After the Columbus Bar thing, they could have been like, all right, this guy right here. But that was all like blown out of the water, evidently, because they just went ahead and beat the Bills. So, so the Jaguars, I hate that we have to do this, but we have to take them seriously now. We cannot write off Jacksonville. And I'm not going to pick them to win this game. I'm going to pick the Colts. But that 10.5 scares the pants out of me, and I'm going to pick the Jags to cover the spread. However, for the sake of our picks on the money line, I'm going Colts. But now when the betting starts to factor in, we know that the Jags haven't given up yet. So that's why I'm going to take that 10.5 for Jacksonville, because they're not dead in the water. They haven't given up. They got guys on defense. Trevor Lawrence got hurt, was grabbing at his lower leg, came back into that game. They're fighting out there in Jacksonville. Yeah, so they gotta keep it up. Keep it up. Just cover the spread, man. Don't lose by 10.5. That's all you gotta do here. I beg of you. All right, we'll move on forward. I've been dreading this all week, and that's why I've kind of buried it a little bit deeper in the show in hopes that maybe some people will have logged off, but I'm sure that they haven't. The Cowboys are 6-2. They're at home against the Atlanta Falcons, who are 4-4. Despite an ugly loss, I'll say it, the Cowboys are 9.5-point favorites here.
Man. I'm going to pick the Cowboys. I'm going to pick the Cowboys this week, but I think it's going to be more of a shootout than they're going to win, but I don't think they'll cover the 9.5. With how, Matty Ice is getting these guys rolling, getting Pitts involved, and you know what I mean? Even though Ridley's gone.
Yeah, Russell Gage stepped up and had a big day for the Falcons. And And for the Cowboys, that was weird. Like, Cooper Rush went out there and got you a win, and I was singing the Cowboys' praises last week, man. And then you get Dak back, and to lay an egg like that against the Denver Broncos.
Denver defense played the best game they played all year.
I'm surprised you're not giving it to me a little bit harder because I said the Cowboys were good.
But yeah, nah, Cowboys. I know, yeah, because you like picking them and you saying they good. That's the only reason. Like
that's what I'm saying. I thought you were gonna come in here hot, guns a blazing.
Nah, not necessarily. It ain't. In due time.
It was only one loss for Dallas. It was ugly. They gotta flush it. They gotta get past that. I thought Phil was really gonna rip into me today. I'm gonna pick the Cowboys. I'm with you. That 9.5 is a lot.
Yeah, I'm not taking a 9.5.
Especially with Atlanta's offense. I'm not touching that 9.5 either. But I'm taking the Cowboys. I'm gracious. I got a gift from Phil that I'm not getting lit up right now. So I still think the Cowboys. I still think the Cowboys are good. I do. I think the Cowboys are good. I think the Cowboys could go on a little bit of a playoff run. I'm not backing off of that because of one ugly loss against Teddy Two Gloves. So I'm not backing off my stance. Cowboys are still good. If they lose this game, start to get nervous a little bit, but the Cowboys are good. They got the weapons. They got both sides of the field.
I just think it was a bad game for the Cowboys.
It was.
It was a bad game.
It was all around. The coaching was bad.
It was
Players
a bad game.
Bad. Fans bad. It was all bad.
For now, it was just a bad game. You know, just a bad game. Just think of it that way. It was a bad game.
All right, I will. All right, we'll move on past that bad game, thankfully, and we'll go to the beautiful SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, California, as the Los Angeles Chargers are 2.5-point favorites against the Minnesota Vikings. Phil, I've come to a verdict with these Minnesota Vikings as they sit here at 3-5.
What you think?
I think that the Vikings, we have to accept them for what they are. And what they are is the team that can go toe-to-toe and have their games come down to the last play against anybody and everybody. But they're always almost going to find a way to lose.
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
Just who they are. They're so close in all. I don't know what I think they need to go to the chapel at their facility because you get so close in all of these games just to I mean, I thought they were going to beat Baltimore. I was like, that's a big signature win for the Vikings if they would have been able to beat Baltimore.
For sure.
And then they just can't. They fold. So I think that's where I'm at with these Minnesota Vikings is that they're going to be right there all the time. It's just they can't get the play to finish it off.
With that offense they got, I feel like they're hard to stop.
Yeah.
I feel like I think they need to draft defensively even more. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They got some pieces on, even though they lost Diggs, they got the rookie. You know what I'm saying? Not the rookie now, but
second year guy.
Still got Adam, you know what I'm saying? Cooks. Come on. You got guys.
Their O-line's stacked.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Offense don't need to be touched. You know what I'm saying? And if the offense ain't with that, it's to him. You know what I'm saying? Is it Kirk Cousins? You know what I mean? But I think they should draft defensively, and they'd be in a lot better position. But for these picks wise, I'm gonna go with the young boy and Herbert and the Chargers this week.
I'm gonna go with the Chargers as well. I'm also gonna have the Chargers covering this 2.5. I think that seems low, even though I just said Minnesota could go toe to toe with anybody. I think just a field goal here is a lot, and the Chargers got rolling, man. They got Keenan involved now, so if they could keep that up, Chargers are gonna be back to a legit team to beat. And I don't think anybody really thought otherwise of them. I just, they hit that bump in the road there. So I'm going to take the Chargers at home for sure. All right, we'll move on to Monday Night Football. We'll have a primetime matchup here for the San Francisco 49ers playing host to the Los Angeles Rams. Rams got to get right, too. They just suffered a very ugly loss of their own. In this game, the Rams are favored by 5 points on the road. Feels like a lot, but with the 49ers, you never really know what version of them is going to show up.
Or what quarterback. I mean, but I
Yeah,
guess
seriously.
Shanahan likes these little QB dilemmas. I guess
He does. He loves them, dude. He loves them. Every stop.
It's not healthy for the team, man.
It's not.
It's not healthy at all, man. Just solidify a guy and rock with it. You know what I'm saying? Go from there. If he mess up after that, on to the next.
I get too that they're in a tough spot because both guys are banged up now, dude. Like Trey Lance is banged up, Jimmy G's banged up. It's like, geez, not only do we not know who's better and who gives us a better chance to win, but then you sprinkle in injuries into that, and that's tough. I'm gonna pick the Rams here to get right because like I said, man, I just don't know which version of the 49ers are going to show up. And I've been on the record in saying this Rams offense is probably the best that I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. And I think that they could make a legit run in a loaded NFC.
You think it was better when they had Falk and them guys? When they went to they lost to Tennessee and that one player, and he almost got into the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but that's just because we saw that for like more than just one. This is Matt Stafford's like what 9th game, 10th game as a Ram. So maybe that is better. Yeah. But
Stafford and Kupp
still feels so new.
They about to if they keep them there longer, both of those guys, those two gonna set some records because they. Like, Stafford is like, oh, I've been missing this. I needed it.
That's chemistry, dude. Mm-hmm. That's what it feels like for a quarterback to click with his wide receiver is what Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp have. And as a Cleveland fan, I wish that's what Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr. could have had. And now I probably hope Baker Mayfield and whatever receiver that the Browns draft could develop because that Stafford to Kupp connection
DPJ.
Is special. And maybe it is Peoples.
You know what I'm saying? DPJ. I'm going to go with the Rams as well, man. I'm going to definitely take the Rams. And I think they'll cover the spread as well.
I think so, too. Are you as high on the Rams as I am? Like, do you think that this thing is legit now with Sean McVay, and he's got his quarterback, and he's kind of hitting his stride as a head coach? And
they definitely contenders. It's up to them to lose it. You know what I'm saying? Right now, for the NFC championship, it's going to be, I think, them and Tampa right now.
Tampa, Green Bay, I think you could. Dude, it's going to be fun. We're in for some fun football coming up. Like,
it's a lot. Yeah, it is. I ain't going to lie. Playoffs going to be fun. Playoffs definitely going to be fun. And it's going to be a lot of good football. And that's what I like mostly about football, playoff time.
Yeah, most definitely. Me as well. Well, we are going to get everybody into the act that they've been waiting for. Is we got to talk some Cleveland Browns and New England Patriots. It's time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's a tough place to play, Phil. What more can you say? As our Brownies are going to be on the road in Foxborough against old friend Bill Belichick and those New England Patriots, we are going to break down Browns-Patriots for you. Browns coming off a big win. They opened up in this game as 2.5-point underdogs. That line's already moved. You can see it on our screen right here. Just 1.5-point home favorites are the New England Patriots. So Vegas doesn't know which way this game is going to go. 2 5-4 squads at 1 p.m. You got a bright young head coach in Kevin Stefanski, and you got the old staple in Bill Belichick over there in New England.
I'm going Browns, man. What do you expect? I'm going Browns, and the Chubb train going to keep on moving. That's what they got to go out there, man. Get Chubb going, and then everything else gonna fall in line. You know what I'm saying? Don't have Baker out there trying to do too much. You know what I'm saying? No quarterback really need to do all that. You got a good running back, utilize it. You know what I'm saying? He can take them hits and them carries, and I'm going with the Browns. And yeah, I'm taking the Browns for sure. So yeah,
definitely.
The Pats ain't gonna cover that anyway.
When you look at the New England Patriots, does any of it scare you? Because this was a team that a lot of people had dead in the water when they cut, Cam Newton, and it looked like they were gonna go just partial rebuild, where they were gonna see what they had in Mac Jones. When you start a rookie quarterback, you know that you're going to have your moments where it's like, oh, this guy, and then like you're also gonna have your moments where like that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
That's things that we could build off of. The Patriots offensively, outside of Mac Jones, I really don't know what they have. Like Jacoby Myers doesn't really scare the hell out of me. They're zillion running backs plus Rex Burkhead doesn't really do anything for me. Defensively, those guys are all the familiar names that we're familiar with over there. So maybe defensively, I'm a little bit more concerned, but I can't think of a legitimate reason as to why the Browns would not roll in this game, especially because of what we saw the defense do in Cincinnati. If the defense could do that against a rookie quarterback, this game's curtains. Joe Woods needs to find a way to make Mac Jones' life hell. I get that he's a good young rookie quarterback, and he played at Alabama, which is a really, prestigious whatever. He's played against really good teams out there in the SEC. But, dude, you got to make this guy's life hell for these 4 quarters and get out of New England with a dub. And then people will begin to start taking the Browns very seriously.
The defensive front got to get after Mac Jones. Got to. You make him throw out of a phone booth, he can't do nothing. Because they ain't really – I mean, he been pressured a little bit, but –
he's not mobile.
At all. You know what I'm saying? They know what they like up there. But, you know what I mean? They get after him. Clowney – Garrett, all them guys, you lock them receivers down like y'all did last game, they'll put up another 40-pointer.
It seems that simple, right? It seems like the game plan should literally be, on this MacBook right here, we're going to go Command-C and copy what we did last week in Cincinnati, and we're going to go Command-V and paste what we did last week in Cincinnati onto this game against the New England Patriots, and that should be your win condition. They got after Burrow, get over Mac Jones. You locked up Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and these guys.
You're playing a way less superior team this week.
Exactly.
Than what you did last week.
So just do the same thing, and there's no reason why our Brownies shouldn't be able to get out of there with this dub. I'm taking the Browns as well. I'm pumped up for this game. I think they're going to be able to do it, my friend, and we're going to be talking 6-4 Browns before our game against the Lions.
Oh, yeah.
This team looks like they're hitting their stride.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Phil, this has been a lot of fun.
Appreciate you.
Obviously, we do these picks every week, so hopefully I could kind of cut into your lead. But, of course, give our fine folks your disclaimer.
It's not our fault if you lose your monies, but always bet responsibly.
Definitely bet responsibly when you follow these picks and all the picks, that flutter around the internet. We had a crazy week of UFC, and I was out there. I actually had a UFC lock this week on my Twitter. I had Rose Namajunas in the UFC women's fight. Dude, she's the real deal. So whenever I
gotta get more into the women's UFC.
It's crazy, man. There was money out there in those streets to be made. They had Rose as a big
all I know
underdog.
is Jessica, she from Cleveland.
Jessica I, man. Yeah. That's
the only one I know.
She's a friend of the Big Play Network when we had our show to kick this off. So she's been on there, on the shows with her, with them, and she was gonna maybe train us for some local celebrity influencer boxing matches. Was Jessica. So good stuff as always. Follow the picks responsibly, of course. Yes. This has been another episode of the Sports Parlor on BetJack.com. Make sure to follow BetJack on social media. All handles at BetJack. For Phil Taylor, I'm Nick Pedone. We will see you guys next week.
Peace.